Hi. Yeah, hi, I'm loud, sorry.
I'm awake now.
Good morning.
I was just testing everyone. Has everybody had breakfast and coffee and all that stuff?
No.
We don't need anybody falling asleep during this panel. It's very important.
Will you throw things if we do?
I don't have anything to throw except for my radio, but then you would end up being medical at that point, so I hope you're trained.
All right, so this is welcome to your first FurCon Tips and Tricks panel. My name is Kijani.
And I'm Hogwash.
Just to introduce ourselves real quick, we've been attending conventions for a long time. This is actually my 33rd convention in my life. That just basically means I'm old.
I lost count. I've been attending cons since 2011, if that makes a difference.
All right, so everyone welcome. Hopefully you all attended the really cool opening ceremonies. Congratulations to Cove and Andy on their nuptials. The most important thing to remember is that all of you definitely got registered, so this badge, or they're all a little different depending on what level reg you got, but this is the key to getting you into anywhere in the convention space, so make sure you have that on you at all times.
Okay, so one of the biggest things about conventions is the 6-2-1 rules. Anybody heard that 6-2-1 rule before?
A few of you, good?
Yeah, who has not heard of that rule before? Quite a few. Okay, so the 6-2-1 is kind of like an acronym. It stands for a couple things. So 6 hours of sleep is the first one. So it's important to be well rested. We don't need anybody going in sleep deprivation, things like that, because everything ties into being well rested. Being sleep deprived, can alter your mental status. It can make you irritated. It can make you upset. It can, cause, uncontrollable like anger, frustration. Being upset. Anything can put you on edge. So it's important to be very, very well rested for any convention or any event that you would attend.
The 2 in 621 stands for 2 meals a day. Food is your fuel that keeps you going throughout the day, gives you the energy you need to enjoy the convention. Now, a meal does not consist of a soda and a bag of chips from the vending machine. That doesn't count, although if you attend any furry conventions, you might think otherwise. But anyway, it's very important to have nutritious meals, stuff that will keep your body going, not just junk food and snacks. So try to get 2 square meals a day. That'll give you the nutrients you need to keep going.
And then that one last thing is quite important as well. It's 1 shower per day. We don't need reports of not showering. I understand that fursuits get hot. They get unfortunately they get gross. But shower. Just getting 1 shower a day can help prevent or postpone that. And then once you get home, you'll be able to take care of everything. But that doesn't go just for fursuiting. People emit body odor. They sweat whether or not they're wearing giant carpets or if they're wearing extensive layers if you get cold. Unfortunately everybody sweats. So it's important just to maintain proper hygiene because that coincides with your health as well. Okay.
Yeah, if you actually read the code of conduct for the convention, it does say that if you do emit an unpleasant odor, staff will not hesitate to tell you to go back to your room and address the issue. So don't be that person, please. Also, to avoid con crud, I know it's cold and flu season right now, stuff's going around, so the mask requirement helps for sure, but also make sure to wash and sanitize your hands often. Pace yourself, especially if you're fursuiting. Drink lots of water, and if you take vitamin C supplements or stuff to boost your immune system, that also helps.
All right, so moving on now that we've got the whole health aspect and everything out of the way. So it's a convention. There's a lot to do, and it's really hard to plan everything all at once. So there is an app out. It's the scheduling app. You can take a look at everything. It has the location of everything for each day. So and then you can actually set it up to your personal schedule so it keeps you on track. So make sure you follow that schedule. Like I said, there's a lot to do. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of fursuits. You just have to make the convention your own. It's your fun. This is your vacation. So try and do what you enjoy the most and get the most out of the convention that you can.
Exactly. There's 2 different ways to go about it. Like I'm more of the one where I like to have everything scheduled so I don't miss a panel or something I really want to attend. Other people just kind of go at it and without any plan and just take every day as it is. So it's really up to you, whatever works best for you. But there is that SCHED app. It's SCHED. The schedule is linked on the actual website, but if you make an Etiquitte account and get the app, you can actually have that all in one place, and it's very convenient. So I don't know if any of you have referred to or seen the dining guide. Has anyone seen that? Should be, yeah, a few of you. So I wrote and edited that. If you're looking for a meal anywhere around the convention space, about a 3-block radius, I think is what I did this year. There are 39 restaurants on that dining guide, so I recommend checking those for ideas, and also check the website just in case, because a lot of the hours are still changing because of COVID and whatnot. So.
So if you're concerned about overeating, it's all his fault. Alrighty, so let's see. Okay, so my job in particular is I'm the lead medic here. So it's but my job is one small section of Flare. Flare is your con security. It's your medical staff. You know. If there's any kind of incidents that you need to report to us, you can always come to us. We can always do it confidential. If you're having a medical emergency or that you can make it down there, that's fine. But if not, you can always send, if you're here and you fell and you can't really get up, then you can always send someone to come and get us. There's also a designated Flare phone. I don't have that number actually. But yeah, so if you have any medical concerns, you can always go down to Flare and then ask for that phone just in case. That way you can give us a call and then you can give us your location and I'll come running. That doesn't mean hey, let's talk to Hogwash, call him. No, don't do that. It's for for emergencies and stuff only. So if you have someone that's in question, they're making you uncomfortable, if there's a medical emergency, or if there's any kind of issues, you can always give us a call, and then we'll talk to the appropriate people to make sure this gets fixed or handled.
All right, for the younger furs out there, one of the really cool things about Anthro Northwest is that it's very it's family friendly and it's really accommodating to the younger furries, 18 and under. So if you are 18 and under, we have a couple things for you. We have a chill space in room 505. That's Q-Pots. It's for young furs and their parents only. It's kind of just a nice chill space that you can relax and meet each other. And also we have the Fursuit Youth Games. That's going to be 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. I think it's right here in the small room. Yep. Should be. And they're more easier, kid-friendly games that you can enjoy in Fursuit, so definitely check those out.
Is Nerf involved?
I believe it might be.
Nerf
We'll see, yeah.
All right. So, are there any first-time fursuiters in here? There's a couple.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, how's it been so far? Good? As a first-time suitor, you guys are having a blast? All right, so there's a lot of important stuff that you have to keep in mind when it comes to first-time suitors. So the first thing is water. Water is very important. Your body, you're wearing a carpet, basically. So when you put this stuff on, there's a lot. It's basically like adding three sweaters in 100-degree weather. Your body's going to sweat, and then your body is emitting that moisture to keep your body cool. It's your own internal temperature saying, hey, I'm too hot. So to replenish that is to drink a lot of water. Gatorade with electrolytes will also help prevent kind of cramping, things like that. So you always want to replenish that water as you sweat more.
Another thing is be aware of your surroundings, especially if you're near a fursuiter, you might not be used to your vision in your head because every suit is different as far as that goes. But so just make sure you're looking down when you walk, because trip hazards can really get you because it's not in your field of vision. We'll go over that a little bit later with the live demonstration, but just be aware of your surroundings, especially if you're in an unfamiliar area, so you don't bump into anything and or the people around you.
Okay. Your next thing is a handler. A handler is always a good thing. So it's people who have fursuits, they have a limited amount of peripheral vision. So like he was saying, you can't really see your feet. You also can barely see the person next to you, or in the distance. Having a second set of eyes to help you with trip hazards. If you're going outside, avoid water spots. To kind of keep you safe while your vision is impaired. So.
It's Seattle though. Going outside is kind of difficult to avoid water spots.
Yeah. It is watching.
Okay, so don't push yourself beyond your limit when you're first starting out. I know when you first get your suit, you're super excited, especially when you're in a convention environment. You just want to go for hours and hours. And I wouldn't recommend that. Just pace yourself, know your limits. And take frequent lounge breaks. There's performers lounges, I believe they're called, on every floor. They're there for you. They have fans, water, towels, everything you need to just take that rest break, pop your head off, and relax.
Your surroundings are very important too. Obviously, everybody's wearing a very expensive investment, so we want to keep those as safe as possible, as much as the person inside your investment. So just make sure that you're avoiding so for fursuit feet, for example, obviously the escalators need grease and stuff like that. So if your feet are rubbing the inside of the railing, then that's going to cause a black mark, and that's going to create more work for you. It's going to cause some cleaning. But then there's further damages to tail because the tails drag, or you hit your head you hit an antler on the door because you're 7 foot 5. So it's just really important to make sure that you stay safe, but also be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you're aware of when you can.
We have a visitor.
Fit.
We have 2 visitors.
2 visitors. And so hitting chairs, stubbing your toes, things like that. We want to make sure that you and your own personal property is as safe as possible.
One thing I forgot to mention about the performers lounges, they are for fursuiters and their handlers only. Or if you need to just pop in to get someone, that's fine. But there's just make sure you don't take any photos in there, because people will have their heads off, and that's definitely obviously a privacy issue. So fursuiters and handlers only for the headless lounges.
All right, so the etiquette about moving your head, or moving your head. So there are those who are okay with what's considered breaking the magic. So, but there are also those who basically refuse to break that magic. We feel free to do that at any point that you feel that you need to. It is not required for you to have your full suit on and then wait until you get to the 44th floor just because you're overheating. So breaking the magic is a personal preference. So we have to kind of keep that in mind when it comes to our safety.
That's right. Yeah, just medical emergencies. Obviously, it's okay. Do whatever you need to do to stay safe. I think both of us are more of the mindset that we are performing a character out there. So we don't want to break that magic.
Yeah. And I don't want to cut it off if you're going through heat exhaustion or heat stroke.
Yes.
Because the important thing is to cool you off, and the fastest way to do that is for me to take a pair of scissors to your investment. I don't want to do that to save your life. So let's start with number 1, which is yourselves, to make sure that you're doing things safely, and
Okay, we have our fursuit demonstrators here. We have Andy and Cove. Welcome. Get this mic out. Okay, so yeah. All right. Oh, so adorbs. Okay, so we have part of this panel we do every year is live interaction demonstrations with fursuiters. So we're going to start. I'm going to start by saying cosplay and costume. I'm sure many of you have heard this, but cosplay and costume is not consent. You always need to ask for hugs anytime you interact with any costumer or fursuiter. So there's a nonverbal way to do that. Now, both of these are non-speaking characters. So Andy, show me, how would you ask for a hug? Exactly, just like that. Arms wide out, that's pretty much performer speak for, yes, that is okay to hug. So if you're out of suit, same thing. Okay, yeah, give us some more room. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll have Hogwash demonstrate this one. Something you never want to do is surprise a fursuiter from behind or glomp hug them. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So you won't do it, but he'll give you an example of what not to do. So Andy obviously cannot see behind him, and so someone comes up behind and, yeah. Ah! Oh, we actually did it. Okay, yeah, don't do that.
don't do that.
Okay, let's do some vision demonstrations now. So I'm not sure how, it looks like Cove's eyes are pretty large. Yeah, she's got pretty good peripheral vision, but certain suits, especially the ones with the 3D or glass eyes, they see through the eye mesh, and then their vision is very limited. So we'll do a few demonstrations here. So All right, let's get Andy in the middle. Okay, so Hogwash is gonna move his hand from the bottom to the top, and Andy, let everybody know when you can see Hogwash's hand. So he's right in front, yeah, right until there. So that's basically his field of vision. Anything below that, he cannot see without actually physically looking down. So now let's do a side to side. Andy, let everyone know when you can see Hogwash's hand. Still can't see it. There, now. So that is the field of vision of a fursuiter, typical fursuiter. So you have to keep that in mind when you're interacting with them. Yeah, Cove's a little bit better, as you can see. It's a little bit wider because she's got bigger eyes to see out of. If you need to get a fursuiter's attention at any time, be sure to talk loud and clear because the head really muffles sound. It's hard to, like, I'll be in suit and not hear my name and I have no idea like where it came from or who said it. So if you need to get their attention, like also add a nonverbal thing like wave your arms or something so they can see you. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Yeah, well, some fursuiters will not talk. I believe both of these are non-speaking characters. So it's really up to each individual performer as to how they want to portray their character. So some of them do really great voice. If you're a voice actor, you can experiment with that. If you're a fursuiter, create a unique voice just for your character. That's really, really cool if you can do that. Otherwise, it's just a really good exercise in nonverbal communication because everything has to be done by gestures. So yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's start with something simple. Like, how do you both say hello to each other? Okay, that's an easy way to capture attention. But if you're behind somebody, obviously they're not going to be able to see that. So you would have to project your voice to capture their attention. Okay, if you don't know their name, simply just go around them, try and capture their attention, and then wait for them to respond. So if you try and talk to them, they could be in the middle of something like focusing on dances. They could be focusing on cooling off, things like that. So what about asking for a hug? Now these are all nonverbal cues. So feel free if you are a speaking fursuiter or just a normal human like me. Can I have a hug? Yeah. What if you didn't want a hug? So if someone approached you and said, "Can I have a hug?" Okay, that's it. That's the end of it. Okay. You can't run up them. Yes, yes, that's okay. Give me a hug. Yes, this is give me a hug. This, all of these are all visual cues to say no because they are either uncomfortable, they're going through something, or for whatever reason. So no is no, that's a period, okay? What about when you are overheating? That is a common visual cue that they are overheating. So generally that would be a cue for them to go to one of the performers' lounge. If they don't know the way, there's your cue. Like, do you know where it's at? They have no idea. So if you do know, you can direct them. You can be their temporary handler to walk them that direction.
And if you do not know where the headless lounge is, so you can direct them to any staff, anyone that has one of these volunteer medals, and they will help as well.
Yeah. There's also your regular medical one. So what if you're choking?
Otter down.
Otter, yep. Okay. So we just have to be vigilant about all the suitors, not just your friends or all the attendees. Every attendee is important as the other. So we just need to make sure that everybody has a safe and really fun weekend.
Okay, so that's all we needed from Andy and Cove. Let's give them a round of applause for helping us out today. That was wonderful. Thank you. I forgot to mention this at the top of the panel, I'm sorry, but if you guys have any questions, we're going to go through this fairly quickly. You can go ahead and raise your hand and we'll try to address it at the time, but we will open it up for questions at the end. So just more generic questions. We'll be happy to answer those for you at the end. All right.
Okay, so another thing for suitors is there used to be a time when fursuit, if you're in any kind of suit, like full suits, partials, things like that, then it was mandatory to give the elevator for those suitors just in case they are overheating, because obviously they're wearing a lot more layers than you. But over time, that's kind of grown into just a common courtesy. A lot of conventions, they kind of just forewent that rule of letting fursuits on first. But you know, it's a courtesy to them, and they would be greatly appreciated if you would let them on if they're, you know, for whatever reason, just to get on the elevator. Okay, I'm not saying like, you know, give up, you know, the elevator's full of 15 people and you want to give up your spot, because they may not fit depending on how big the fursuiter is anyway. But it's like I said, it's just a common courtesy for them, just to kind of get them up to their room so they can desuit, because you don't know if they're comfortable with breaking the magic or not. So like these two, I doubt they will ever get to that point. So they will always head up to their room, and that's the only time that they actually cool off. So
Also in that elevator topic, also you want to give priority to non-convention attending guests if they need to use the elevator as well. I believe it does say in the code of conduct that we are to do that for them. So if you see so-called normies out there, just be nice and courteous and let them on the elevator.
Does everybody know what a normie looks like?
Anyone without a convention badge, basically.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Cove and Andy.
Thank you. All right, let's talk about the social aspect of attending your first con a little bit. The thing is, we were all new at one time, and we all remember how difficult it may have been for us to attend something like this, or even a bigger convention, not really knowing anyone. So our recommendation for that is to, especially if you have, you know, a lot of us may have social anxiety or things like that, and it can be difficult to reach out to people. So my suggestion would be to there's a lot of great programming here in Anthro Northwest. Go to panels of topics that are interest to you, and you can meet people with similar interests, whether it's a species meet and greet, an art panel, even making fursuits. And try to introduce yourself and try to get, you know, their contact info so you can stay in touch after the convention. Because it's one thing to meet someone, but then you lose touch with them after if you don't have their contact information. So Brack, do you have any more, or Hogwash, do you have any more suggestions?
Yeah, so like he was saying, it is a massive social aspect. And, you know, who's here by themselves?
Well, a lot of you.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is you came here without like any of your friends attending, correct? Not in this space, but who attended the con, you know, without any of their friendly normal friend group? So there's a lot of people here that, you know, I'm not alone, but they're by themselves. So it's a massive social aspect. And attending panels, when you're attending panels and, you know, they open it for questions like we do, it's a good habit to kind of, you know, give your name and then ask your question, because then everybody else who is attending that similar interest will learn your name, and then they can have follow-up questions, and they can just repeat your name back. So, you know, how do you do, you know, my name is Hogwash, you know, what's the 621 rule? And then someone else can stand or just give their name, like, you know, hi, my name is Matthias, you know, the 621 rule is this, this, and this. So that's how you greet people. And that's how your name gets put out into that social interest. And then, so that's an easy way to say hello to somebody. And then you can approach them and like, hey, you know, hey, thanks for giving that to me. You know, I appreciate it. If I have any more questions, can I come and talk to you? Like, yeah, absolutely. So that's how it's an easy way of greeting people.
Yeah, and it's the most important thing is that we're all family here. We're all here for similar reasons, similar interests. So, you know, something really cool about this kind of is the community aspect, and you saw that in the opening ceremonies when you walked out. It's unlike any other convention, so everyone should feel very welcome and open and community aspect here.
Okay, so moving on. The Dealer's Den. It is one of the mainstream events for this convention. We have a lot of small-time dealers, big-time dealers, and there's a lot of art, not out. There's a lot of out in the world, yeah. There's a lot of art in this world, and there's especially in this convention itself. So attending the Dealer's Den, just even approaching it and approaching different dealers of what you find interesting, shows the support to the dealers themselves. And then giving them the gratification of, they're doing something special for this convention. They're doing it for them. They're doing it for you. And that it shows interest in their work, which gives them that positive reinforcement. Even if it's just going up there, talking to the dealer, and then, going over how long they've been in art, or what's their specialty.
Yeah, and something unique about this con as opposed to other cons is that a lot of smaller makers or lesser known artists may be in the dealer's room that they would not be able to get in at a larger con such as like Anthro or something like that. So it does really mean a lot to them to show interest in your art, even just making, as you said, just making conversation with them as you pass by their booth. So how would you approach your first time in a dealer's den? What I like to do is I like to do kind of like a two-pass route. The first time I go through, I take a look at all the vendors and make notes of ones you may want to revisit later for a commission or to buy something from, because everyone has a different budget, whether, how much money you have to spend. So when you know that and you know the prices of what you want to buy, the second time around, you can actually go through and get the stuff. So it's important to have a plan so you don't spend money that you may or may not have. So.
There was actually a friend of mine taught me like his rule about the Dealer's Den is that he walks the Dealer's Den the first day, okay? So you find everything that's interesting, you can make a mental note or you can write it down however you want. And if you find something that's very, very interesting, but you're not 100% sure if you want it, what he does is he goes back on the last day, and if it's still there, he'll make that final decision on whether to purchase it or not. Because, I mean, if someone else, obviously there's going to be other people that are interested in, and then there's always that risk of, you really want it, but you don't know if you're not 100%. So you can wait until the last day, so that way you're not blowing your entire budget on Friday, and you still have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, if you're staying on Tuesday to, purchase other things that may have also shown some interest. So that's one way of doing it, is to just kind of make a mental note, hey, I really want this, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to come back on the last day, and if I still have the funds after my entire weekend to make that purchase, if it is still there, then I will go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that's excellent. I've done that myself several times on bigger ticket items. One thing I want to talk about is a courtesy thing for the dealer's room. A lot of times you'll be, browsing the room and you'll see a friend there or someone that you know. And if you want to just, talk to them, make sure you step away from the tables, just kind of as a courtesy to the dealers and everyone else. Because you're blocking, when you do that, you're blocking potential customers from access to their tables. Same thing if you want to take a photo, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah. So, Fursuit Repairs. So there is a designated room for Fursuit Repairs, or some creations. I think they're letting people make tails and ears and things like that. But room 601 is the fursuit room. I think there's a back table full of an assortment of colors and different lengths of fur. It has everything that you would need to make your repairs. I think it's got sewing machines, repair kits, hot glue guns, everything that you need. So if there is, hopefully, there's no damages to your suit. But if you just so happen to find that mishap or that one little missed stitch, then you can always go to 601 and make those repairs if you're capable. If not, then I'm sure there usually is someone in there who has the knowledge to do so.
In conclusion, I guess I would say Anthro Northwest is a very unique con. It's family-friendly, all ages, and we really focus on community and education, as you've seen by the program that we have here. Every attendee is special. As members to this convention, you are all, I guess, ambassadors to not only the convention, but the fandom as a whole. We do share this hotel with non-convention attendees as well, so be aware of that, and let your kindness shine through and show everyone how creative, fun, and awesome our fandom is.
Yeah. So if non-attendees can stop you down in the bistro or down in the eatings area, you know, they might stop you. So just, you know, let your own character shine. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own method of expressing their own creativity. You know, you have artists who express their art through their creations through art. Myself, I'm a dance performer, so that's where my art is. I can't draw for the life of me, but you know, I've been told I can dance. Whatever. You know, Kajani is just, you know, a plethora.
I can't draw either. So. Performance and photography, I guess, would be.
So find your style, create your own character, use your own personality to enlighten those non-attendees about what this fandom is about, and you know, give them that positive reinforcement that it's a safe environment, and you can learn a lot from it. It's not just, you know, furries, people walking around in costumes, because we have sponsors, we have, you know, charities. Most people who, you know, don't attend these conventions don't realize how much money we donate to charities alone. So it's very important to kind of enlighten them on the full aspect of the furry fandom, not just, you know, what they see on TV.
Absolutely. Fursuiting is by far the most visual part of the fandom, and a lot of people that aren't familiar with the fandom believe that's really pretty much all it is, people dressing up in costumes, and it's so much more than that, as you all know. So I think that's all we had. So if anyone has any questions, how are we going to do this? Do we have a mic so we can hear them?
Yeah, do you want to send one? Here, I'll walk.
Yeah, you walk it? Okay, yeah. So Hogwash will walk out in the audience. If anyone has any specific questions, raise your hand or your paw, and we will address those.
Anybody?
Anything, about anything. So.
I don't think I need a mic.
Okay. Okay.
What are the views on non-furry type costuming?
Non-furry type costumes. It depends on the type of costume. So, what is your type of performer?
Well, I have a couple with me that I'm obviously not wearing today, but Hello Kitty themed Gandalf, and one that's the safety monitor.
I think as long as it remains inside the code of conduct for the convention itself, you know, it's your own personal expression, it's your own characters. So if you've created these things like a Hello Kitty Gandalf, then, you know, bring it out. I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to be. I'm interested in seeing it, actually. So I wouldn't just kind of I mean, you have it, then by all means just, you know, bring out your creativity as much as you can.
Thank you.
We got one in the back.
Wonderful thing to say. Don't pick up little fursuiters. I saw this at your reference multiple times. That little fursuiter got picked up, often from behind without asking them. Don't do this. People tend to have intro back and stuff like this. So this is really important.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Okay, I'm going to actually address this I have a panel on Sunday called Fursuiting Beyond the Con, and it will involve convention stuff too, but we'll address that. But that's a really good point. If you see like a younger fursuiter or smaller fursuiter, don't pick them up, because a lot of, you know, bad things can happen, especially if they're not ready for it. So just keep that in mind. Be courteous, you know.
Yeah, the
you don't want
child's
to
not
be picked
yours.
up randomly either. So.
If the child's not yours, don't pick it up.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a question in the back somewhere.
Yeah. So when it comes to buying items, I know that there's an ATM located here at the hotel itself. Does everybody know where that is? If they need to only pay in cash?
I don't know. That's a good question. There's it is Seattle. So I mean, I'm pretty sure there's ATMs in a number of different locations, and most of the dealers themselves have the technology to take cards now, so it's not limited to just cash payments. Does anybody know where any of the ATM machines are outside of con? I don't, because everybody uses. I use a card, so.
There's a BCU down by Westlake Center, which is just a couple of blocks.
Yeah, I'm sure if you go onto, like, you know, if you can Google or Google Maps, you can look up local banks in the area from your
Yeah,
position.
there is a Bank of America about a block and a half from here too.
I was just saying I'll set up a Q&A mic for you over on your right, and if people want to come up and use it, it'll broadcast through the system and make the question easier for everyone to be able to hear.
Cool, thanks.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thanks, God. All right, so we did have a Q&A mic that was set up here.
I'm fairly certain all dealers are, no dealers are cash only. I think they all have to take some sort of card system right now.
Any more? Any other questions? Oh, there's a mic over here if you feel comfortable enough to do that. They just have to set it up on the opposite side of the field so they make the journey. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
The walk helps me build confidence. But my question is like, I would like to start getting into making furry art, maybe drawings or whatever. And I would like to meet new people in that field to get reference or whatever. Do you have any best tips? Which events or panels do you think would be best for someone who wants to get started?
So you're looking into getting into performances?
No. Making art, furry art. Like maybe drawing, maybe, I don't know.
So you're a new furry artist, you're saying?
Yeah, I want to become one.
Then I would start with just basic shapes. You know, everybody starts somewhere. So, and then unfortunately, everybody is their own worst critic. So when you look at something after you've completed it, and you look at it and you're just, wow, that looks absolutely horrible. I'm not going to do this again. Don't get discouraged. Everybody had to start, somewhere. Unfortunately, some people got started much later than those who have been drawing since they were 2 or 3 years old. My own personal experience with performances, my first dance competition, most people don't know, was BLFC 2013, not Rainforest 2013, and it went absolutely horrible. And I mean that with, it's not good. So, but once that performance was over and then I saw how bad it was, then I couldn't go out like that. So just, you always have to stay positive, and every time you try is a way to get better. And then just you have to be patient with yourself in your art, so that way, every piece is an improvement. So, as for recommendations for...
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule. Have you looked at the schedule for the con?
I've been busy with
A little bit.
stuff, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so there is an artist track if you want to. I think you asked if you should go to any panels. There's an artist track you can look up, and there's panels. There's also an art jam that a whole bunch of people are just drawing around, tables and stuff. So that can be a...
That's on 5.
Floor 5.
Yeah.
It's 5th floor, and that can be a source of learning and encouragement for you as well.
I think all the tables are open, so you can kind of, you can approach somebody and say, hey, look, I'm wanting, just explain to them that you want to get further into the, the art community, and then, ask them if they have any tips or tricks. I mean, someone can draw things like, these panels on the board up here, someone created these things. So there's plenty of experienced artists out there. You just have to, find them, and then just simply ask them some simple questions like, how did you get started? What materials do you use? And then you can branch off of that and then express your own creativity on the art that you want to perform in.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, there's a mic there if you feel comfortable, but if not, it's okay.
Are there any courtesy rules for being in the performers lounge?
Fursuit rules for the performers lounge. So you can take your head off if you should decide. Some people don't. They just kind of put a fan in front of their face and let the ventilation just go into there. There are no cameras or recording in the performers lounge. Like I said, some people don't want to break that magic. They don't want to be headless outside in public. So the performers lounge is kind of like a temporary safe haven for those who are, that need to cool off outside of their room. So in regards to other attendees, like handlers are okay, family members are okay. So if you have a minor that's, being accompanied by parents, you're restricted to them. So if you have a handler, that's fine, but the biggest thing is that anybody who doesn't need to be in there shouldn't go in there. Okay. Did that answer your question? Any others? Good. Questions, comments, concerns?
Okay, looks like we're good then. Well, thank you very much all for attending this panel.
Yeah,
Have a
thank you.
wonderful convention. Hope this helped you out.
Yeah, enjoy.